So my idea kind of relates to Mike's second idea a little bit, and it's
Ooh.
actually a modification of one of my earliest ideas on the podcast, and I call it Karma Peacock.
Ooh.
And basically, what it would be is an online thing, like a peacock, and it would be tied to your name. Like each person would have their own peacock or set of peacocks, and
Yeah.
if they did a good deed, like somebody praised them through this app, like you helped me through a tough suicidal point, or you saved my life, or you did me a
Yeah.
favor, you would give them a feather to put on their peacock, or you could also integrate it with like charities. And so if you donated a couch to United Way, or you worked in a soup kitchen or something, they would give you a feather. And so your karma peacock would get like more elaborate and fancy the more shit you did. So it would be a way
Okay.
to peacock to other people your good deeds.
Is it a literal peacock?
It's a digital peacock that you can
Oh,
show
okay.
on your Facebook
Okay.
page. It's not
That's
like
more
an
functional.
actual physical animal
Like a
that
big
you're.
bird, and they're loud too. Have you ever heard them? They're like, "Rah!" They're like loud as hell.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I used to live in this neighborhood, and there was like a neighborhood thread, and it was just a bunch of people complaining about like this peacock that lived there, and this guy was yelling, "Shut the fuck up!" at the peacock. So there's people complaining about that guy, and then it was a nightmare.
well, the karma peacock, digital peacock, wouldn't make noise. We don't
Yeah,
want it to
yeah.
be annoying.
And it,
So yeah, so the more good deeds you did, your peacock would get more elaborate, and you could choose which ones to display. You couldn't give yourself a feather for a thing you did. Somebody else would have
right.
to give it to you.
Does it show who gave it to you?
Yeah, and I'll
Okay.
get into that a little bit. So in the original concept, it was a little tongue in cheek. Like sometimes peacocking has like a negative connotation, like you're being snooty, like, oh, I own a Prius and you guys are driving a shitty gas guzzling car. I'm better than you. So sometimes peacocking can be sort of a negative thing.
Right, right, right.
So when I thought of it originally, I wasn't quite sure whether it would be sincere all the time or whether it would be a thing that some people deride. It's like showing off, and it's like a thing to hate. But I'm thinking now that it's sincere in my latest conception of it. It's not meant to be showing off in a bad way. It's meant to encourage people to do good things.
Can you send like ironic peacocks? Like, can you be like, "Oh yeah, thanks a lot," and you send like someone like a shitty, you know what I mean?
I had thought that no, you couldn't do that.
Okay, it's got to
I mean,
be the
there
intention
will,
has to be pure.
yeah, there will be like fuckery. People will
Sure.
lie, and people will try to fuck with the system. Maybe that would squeak through, but it's not.
Yeah, you gotta always account for ne'er do wells.
So I thought no bad karma for bad things either, like breakups and like you voted for the wrong presidential candidate. It'd be like an I voted sticker. It'd be apolitical, and like it's not meant to be divisive. It's like I saved somebody's life, I donated to a charity, I voted, I helped somebody through a hard time. It's not meant to like be a total measurement of somebody's life, the good and the bad. It's meant to just be good things.
Would this be shared with other people, or would it be a way that you could give yourself a better feeling that, yes, I'm worthwhile because I've got all these peacock feathers because I've been doing all these good things? Or is it something you take and you show your digital peacock to people and say, hey, look, I've got 352 feathers?
Oh, you show it off. The whole point of it is showing it off. And like the things that you did that were the best, like I saved someone's life, that feather is prominent. Tiny little things that people gave you a feather for, maybe you don't even show those at all because you want people to focus on the big things. So it would depend on how you want to design the peacock, but you want people to see your peacock and be impressed. And that's another thing that the original idea was based on a Freakonomics thing that I had heard. Freakonomics is like a nerdy book
NPR
about
radio.
NPR type thing about like analyzing how the world works and stuff. And they said that somebody did a study and that people donate to charity more to show off, and because they're peer pressured than to actually help people. And so this is aiming at using that peer pressure maximally to get people to do more good shit by peer pressuring them into doing it. The other thing is you could set filters on like what your priorities are, like, okay, global warming or feminism or something, helping pets, animal rights. That's my issue. When I'm looking at other people's peacocks, I want to focus on, did they do anything in that category? So it could maybe not show the other things, but highlight the things you care about. So it could help you make judgments on other people quicker. So you wouldn't have to click on each peacock feather one at a time to see what they did. You could highlight them based on categories. So that's basically the original idea. I didn't really go any farther than that. This is like maybe 5 years ago, but a couple things have happened since then, which are sort of relevant to the idea that could really enhance the idea, I think. One of them is OnlyFans, and then the other one is NFTs. So OnlyFans, I don't know if you guys know what OnlyFans is. It's
I am
basically
familiar.
mostly porn. You spend a monthly amount to watch porn from a specific person. And sometimes it's not porn, sometimes it's like a fitness thing or a cooking thing, but what it shows is that there are things that people will spend insane amounts of money on that nobody would have predicted. Like nobody would have predicted that people would spend money on porn before OnlyFans came out, and as much money as they do. So if you do it right, people will spend money on things that they don't spend money on now. And so OnlyFans shows me that maybe it could also work for charity. If you did this Karma Peacock thing right, and it made it easy to judge people and show off, and people really praised you for your Karma Peacock, and like it was a thing that really mattered socially, it could really encourage people to do more good deeds. And I got that from looking at a porn site, OnlyFans.
Honestly, I had OnlyFans for a little bit. Not like I didn't run one. I just like subscribed to a couple. It honestly made me feel kind of okay with looking at porn because it was just like, oh yeah, I'm paying you directly. I'm not going to some like weird website. It's just like, oh, it's just going to this person. That's kind of nice to know. You know, it's like, oh, whatever, $10 a month or whatever.
Yeah, I've never subscribed to it, but I mean, I have subscribed to a porn site in my lifetime, so I'm not judging you for that. But
No, for sure.
and so the other thing is that, and this I guess doesn't relate directly to OnlyFans, but like people spending money on surprising things, and like Karma Peacock is about showing off to others, and that people do already spend a lot of money to show off in other things like women's fashion, sports cars, NFTs, even for nerds, is that there's a certain show off culture for that. Maybe some video
Okay, I'm
game
gonna
things,
be
collectibles.
the dumb old man. NFT means
I'll get there.
okay.
So the Karma Peacock is a little different in that you'd be showing off, but there's not really a wealth aspect to it. Like fashion is expensive, sports cars are expensive, collectibles, sports cards, NFTs, which is basically digital art, digital collectibles that are, your ownership is validated through cryptocurrency, and the
Okay.
blockchain is basically what it is. But so Karma Peacock is like a new way of flaunting yourself that doesn't have the wealth aspect tied in. But OnlyFans shows me that new things can work, like getting people to spend money on new things if they're done well, even if
Yeah.
it doesn't seem intuitive that that would be the case. I'm done with the OnlyFans thing. It's not that relevant. But it did get the idea back in my head, like, holy shit, people are spending money on this. Like,
Yeah.
my Karma Peacock thing popped back
Who
in.
makes the determination if it's a good thing? I mean, if you get rewarded to add to your Karma Peacock, who's making that determination if it's a good thing? You know, is
Well,
it the charity that you give to? Is it the person you've helped? Because some people may consider January 6th a good thing. You know, is that, you know, so is somebody you get feathers for storming the Capitol? because somebody felt that that was a good thing? Or who makes the determination, or what kind of guidelines are out there for your karma, your good karma?
So I think for one, there would be like categories. So you'd click like a bunch of different radio boxes. Did this person save your life? And then you'd have like some of the feathers would be like verified, like a charity said you did this. And that would be different than a person to person thing. But yeah, you're right. There might be things that seep in there that shouldn't be there. But again, when other people view your peacock, they're looking at the artwork that is the peacock, but they can also click on the feathers and view it. So if you have a January 6th feather on there, people will judge you for that, which you might want, you might not want.
So do the feathers of other users with big peacocks carry more weight, or is it the same across the board? So like a feather is a feather. No matter if, I don't know, if Mother Teresa gives Tom a feather for being charitable or whatever, if it's like, okay, then that's a big deal. If she's saying it, like that's a huge feather.
Basically, a feather is a feather,
Okay.
but
Or like if the thing you did was particularly good. So like, yeah, you gave your kidneys to a hospital or whatever. Would that feather be bigger?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. So they're all relatively the same size.
They're all relatively the same size.
And color? I mean, like it's like a regular peacock.
I think they would be like bright, like colors. It wouldn't look necessarily like a realistic feather. It would be like
Yeah.
More like the
rainbowy,
NBC
flashy.
thing.
And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you could get into some like different designs, if it's like a big cool, like a big thing you did, like you saved someone's life or whatever, and they gave you a feather, like that one is a fancier feather than like, oh hey, thanks for picking up that milk for me.
I don't think it would be a fancier feather. I think you want to show off what you did. So you're going to put the one where you save somebody's life. You're going to want to center it and put it in front so that people are more likely to see that one. And maybe you only want to have like 20 feathers for your 20 best things, because if people have to go through 500 feathers of little bullshit that you did, little I delivered groceries type things to find the one where you save somebody's life, they might never get to that one. So you're going to want to not have too many feathers of less things, but that's your choice. It's not built in the feather itself. And you could choose to design your peacocks to put like the thing where you save somebody's life in front, or you could just aesthetically, or you could group them. Like, this is my peacock from when I was a kid, so it's all little things. Or like, this is the peacock of all of the animal rights things I did. You could choose how you want to design your peacock, but it wouldn't be built into the system like a judgment on this is a better deed than this one. But some of the feathers would be verified. They would look the same, but when you're like reading the description, you would see, okay, United Way showed me that this person did this. So it would help you like filter out. If the person doesn't have any verified feathers at all, then maybe they're a bullshitter or a troll. But the feathers themselves, I didn't think would have a different.
Okay, so they're all uniform feather. Yeah.
So you would manage a flock of peacocks? It's not just one that gets multiple, it can be several.
You could decide that, I think. Otherwise, it could be just a monstrosity of feathers.
Yeah, that's what I was
That would be a good thing, right?
That's why I was saying it would like look kind of cool to have like, oh, this particular like metals, like how not all metals look the same. They have different shapes and like different sizes and stuff.
But anyway, I think your name would have one like screen of Karma Peacock. And aesthetically, you could choose, do you want to put 500 feathers on one peacock, or do you want to have it look like multiple peacocks? But it's still, that screen is representing you. So you don't have like different accounts with totally different things. You as a person would only have one peacock set. It wouldn't be like Twitter where you could have 10 different Twitter accounts that one person is aware of one Twitter account and not the other one. And ideally, there would be one peacock image, which could contain one or more peacocks per person. I think that's pretty clear, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so the NFTs, I think, first of all, NFTs, it's basically a way to use cryptocurrency blockchains to prove ownership of a thing. And usually that's like a digital collectible, like a digital piece of artwork or a special gun that you can play in a video game. And they only have like a limited number of them and you can buy them. Eventually it could be like a streaming music service where if you own the NFT, it means you can listen to the song, or through software, you can put contracts into the NFT. Like you could use an NFT to prove rights to use a stock image on a YouTube video or something. Or you can use the NFT contract to say that if you sell this NFT, if you sell this piece of artwork to another person, the original artist gets a cut. So it's basically a way of having contracts of ownerships of things on the cryptocurrency blockchain. And you could do that with the Karma Peacock. So like if one person gives another person a feather for doing a good deed, that could be put on the blockchain for the NFT. And there wouldn't have to be money transferred for that. Like if you're giving somebody a feather, there's no money transferred for that. It's just saying this person did a good deed for me. I'm going to reward them with a feather. And then NFTs have a concept of creating copies, and you can see who the original is and who the copy is. And so that would show up on the Peacock. Like somebody saved your life, you give them a feather. They're the first owner of that feather. You can see that, and that's permanently written. It's encoded in the blockchain. Nobody can ever change it, so they can't lie about it later. Somebody else can't steal it, because then you'll see that it's been transferred from one account to the other. They would design what the feather looks like when they give it to you, or it could be automatically generated if you don't want to take the time to design a feather for them. But maybe if you know they like certain style of feather, you look at their peacock that already exists. Oh, they like gold feathers. I'll make it a gold feather. So you could customize it for them or not. So you give them the feather. It doesn't immediately show up on their peacock. Next time they log in, they can decide whether they want to show it on their peacock and where it's going to go. Then it'll show up on the peacock so other people can see it. You would also be able to, if Chris is looking at my peacock and somebody had given me a feather, you could click from that feather, you could go from my peacock to the other person's peacock. So there's links there. So you can browse from peacock to peacock. Like this person did this person a good deed. So I'm going to look at their peacock and see what good deeds they did. So there's like a link, like a hyperlink there. And then I said before, the peacock feathers can have properties like, was it issued by a charity like a United Way or whatever? So that you'd have to get these charities to agree to participate in this. And again, when you're viewing other people's peacocks, you can say, oh, I want to look at, right now I want to look at just the verified ones, or I want to highlight the verified ones, or I want to highlight the ones based on animal rights or whatever. So there would be categories and properties and verified, not verified, to help you find feathers on other people's peacocks to see if they're a good person or not, or to judge them. And then there's one more thing that I haven't talked about yet that I think would make this really work. And this is why I decided to talk about this again as a new idea. So before I said you could earn a feather by donating to a charity. Another way to get a feather without doing anything would be to reward somebody else if you're looking at their peacock. Let's say somebody saved my mother's life and she gave that person a feather. Now I go to that person's feather and say, I want to reward you. I'm going to give you $500 for saving my mother's life. So you can do that. You can reward people for doing good things for other people. And if you reward somebody, you get a copy of their feather. But again, that's marked. Like when you're reading the description, it'll say, this is a reward feather. It looks basically the same, but when you're looking at the categories and stuff, you can see that it's a reward given feather. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no money involved in doing the good things, like between the person who did the good thing for the other person, but strangers who go back later and see what happened, they can donate. Like this person saved this person's mother's life. I'm going to give them some reward money. So if you start rewarding other people, you can show those rewards as feathers on your peacock. Like this person rewards good people for doing good things. And that, I think, would make the big difference. The community would reward you for doing good things, and you would be rewarding others for doing good things. It's like a community bringing together thing. I think that would make it really popular. And if you've got finances involved in the Peacock system, people would be less likely to fuck with it and just lie.
Right, right.
Mhm.
If you're just posting bullshit on your Peacock, you're not gonna on that same Peacock donate $1,000 to a person, get a feather for that, and then have a feather for some fake bullshit or trolling thing you did. You're not gonna waste money on a Peacock that's full of bullshit.
Right, right.
So that would help you find troll peacocks. Like if they haven't ever donated to anything, they don't have any verified feathers because they've never worked in a soup kitchen or something, you could decide, okay, this could be a bullshit peacock. Any thoughts?
When are we going to see the Karma Peacock launch?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I do
we're
think
gonna wear
it's
that
probably,
black turtleneck.
yeah. This is my Steve Jobs
Yeah.
t-shirt, yeah, or Elizabeth Holmes t-shirt. Yeah, I do think it's one of my good ideas. I don't know exactly how NFTs work. I did Google it. There's different types of NFTs, and there's one that runs on Ethereum, which is one of the cryptocurrencies where you could do the thing. It's actually called semi-fungible token, where you
Yeah.
can have the original, which would be the good deed, and then the copies would be the people who are giving the money rewards. And you can tell on the blockchain, you can tell whether it's the original or the copy. So when you're displaying the peacock, you can show, is this the person who did the good deed, or is this the person who rewarded the other person for the good deed? I think you could do that with semi-fungible tokens on Ethereum. And that was designed for like video games. Like if 40,000 people could get the same special gun in the video game, the original gun design is the parent token, and then all of the copies are like the people who achieved something in the video game and got the special gun. That was kind of how it was conceptualized, but I want to use it for charity on the Karma Peacock. I forget what your question was, comment was.
Just how soon are you going to get this up and running?
Yeah, but I don't know it that well. I am a software engineer, so I might be able to stumble through doing something like this. I don't know. But yeah, I guess it's not a crazy idea, but I wasn't planning on doing it for real. But I could maybe, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it would work? Do you think people would spend $1,000 a year to hone a good peacock and maybe do charity things once or twice a summer to have a robust, good peacock to show off on Facebook and on social media to their friends? Do you think it would take off? Would you do it?
Would I do it? Probably not, because I don't understand how money works. So I'm not good at investment stuff. I'm a bad person to ask about that kind of thing.
Well, it's not an investment at all.
Right.
It's not like an NFT in that sense. It's not like buying a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I guess you would have to donate the money to others. It would probably be in the form of crypto. So you'd need a crypto wallet to make the donation, unless they sort of hide that behind like a website where you just use your credit card or something to fund an account, and then all of that happens invisible behind the scenes.
Yeah. And then you get the crypto wallet, gets all full, and you can't sit right. It's a whole thing. Yeah.
It's
It's a whole thing I gotta deal with. I like to keep it simple.
I think you'd have people that might want to be in it for the good deeds part. I think the financial end of it and the cryptocurrency rewards might be a bit much for people. But, especially if you're a younger person that wants to do good, and if you want to start getting people to do good, start them when they're young. Have a 5-year-old help clean up the park or do whatever it is they can do to earn their peacock feathers, and then that carries into their, as they grow up. And the concept of doing the good and having a place to keep track of it I can see that having appeal. When you get into the financial end of it, I think people might avoid that just because they're not comfortable with it. I mean, I have never spent a dime to buy anything in a video game, so I'm uncomfortable with that, and a lot of other people might be too. But the concept of having a place to keep track of and show what good things you're doing might hold an appeal.
Do you think that corrupts it, that you're donating to people who did good things? Like maybe their motivations weren't pure anymore. Now that they know that Karma Peacock exists, there can be no pure acts of charity anymore or goodness anymore because the community might decide to give them money.
I don't know. When you add money into it, it opens the doors for people to do things for money instead of the real reason. I mean, I can see rewarding people, if there's that verified feather for giving to the United Way, that's fine. But when you start using your platform to give money to people for doing things, that might get in the way of good intentions. But I think, like I said, the idea of a place to, keep track of your good deeds or to, show what you've been doing in a positive way holds an appeal. I mean, it's like, Facebook, a lot of people go on there to brag about what they're doing. So it's a good deed brag book, essentially, to, build your peacock flock. But once you start getting into the money, I think it might be a little on the confusing side for some people. And also, like you said, some people might then be using their peacock to build wealth instead of building good feelings.
But again, if you're saving somebody's life who is going to get run over by a car, if more people are going to be saved, does it matter if people are doing it to make money? A certain percentage of their brain is doing it for the financial reward. Does it matter that much? I mean, obviously, if they're lying, then it matters. Right. Saying they saved somebody's life when they didn't, like two people in cahoots. Like, how about you lie and say that I saved your life, and I'll lie and say that you saved my life, and then we're going to go on Facebook and try to get people to donate reward money to us. Obviously,
well, everything probably has that potential. But I think the more you keep money out of it, the better, the more pure your peacock is going to be.
To me, I think the money is the thing that makes it work, because for one thing, it makes you feel good to donate money. It's going to reduce, I think in one sense, it'll encourage people to lie and stuff. In the other sense, it'll discourage people from lying because, like I said, you're not going to troll people and then with that same peacock going to go donate $100. You don't spend $100 to fuck with people. So I don't know where it would land, whether it would discourage bullshit or encourage it, the financial aspect of it. And then the other thing, I thought there could be websites where like leaderboards and like this person got the most donations, like in like local news stories and newspaper articles. They could like have a link to like a Peacock QR donation code thing. Like, okay, you're reading in the newspaper about this person who saved the puppy. You can just take a photo of it with your phone and donate $2 to this person who saved the puppy that was in the newspaper. You could have people who all they do is they go through peacock feathers and they find ones that, okay, this person saved somebody's life and they haven't gotten any donations yet. Let's promote this. You could create like news programs of like good news. Like people always complain about how bad news is. This could be a form for like good news to trickle up to the top, and you could have like nightly hour-long program on TV. These are the Karma Peacock things that happened today. There's all sorts of things you could do with it that way by like just browsing what the Peacock things are. And I don't know, I guess some of that would still work without money. You could just upvote them like with a thumbs up or something. I don't know, but I think the money makes it new and interesting, and I don't know if I would be interested in it if it didn't have any money involved. What do you think, Mike?
You could do it without money, I think. Money always corrupts. So to keep it a pure system, you might need to have it be like a thing that goes around, and then you can sell ads, and that's how it makes money. That's how it pays for itself.
Yeah.
Companies can buy a feather.
But what's wrong with, like, instead of, okay, I'm gonna join Patreon and donate $10 a month to this podcast, or go to OnlyFans and pay $10 a month for this porn. Why is that good? And okay, I'm gonna donate $5 to this guy who saved a puppy. Why is that bad?
It's not bad. They just need to learn how. They just need to like. He needs a podcast. He needs a puppy saving podcast.
The other thing is with porn, like OnlyFans, people wanted to support their favorite porn stars.
Yeah.
And the old system just didn't allow that
Yeah.
because you just couldn't. There was middlemen, and
Right.
it was inconvenient to like find every movie that this porn star was in and
Yeah,
buy it
right.
or whatever. And it was like
Right. The dark
um,
times.
So, and they've made it easy to give money where people want money to go. So like maybe people want to donate to people who save puppies, and there's just never been a convenient way to do it before. Because like, what are you going to do? Call the TV station and who was this person who saved this puppy? It's like nobody's going to take the time to do that. Every once in a while, some celebrity will like see somebody who did a good thing and then give them a college scholarship or pay for their car that crashed. Or that's rare, but it does happen. But maybe you could make it a regular thing. Another thing that I forgot to mention, I'm trying to skim the notes and I missed some things. If there is money involved in like real estate and like business, there's like human auditors. They investigate to see if things are true. Like there could be a hiring thing for auditors to like, okay, this person says this person saved their life. For $300, we're going to hire an auditor to interview the people, see if there's any evidence. Are there any newspaper evidence?
Right.
They have
You got
any
to pay for the
video?
auditors. So yeah, maybe there should be money involved.
So then maybe some newspapers would only publicize the audited things, either audited or verified, because it was from United Way.
Right.
They wouldn't need
Or
to
a
audit
special
that.
verified section. Where like this is the shit that actually happened.
Yeah. And then before they donate, they could read the auditor report. And the auditor report might be, well, we're not sure. We didn't see any obvious bullshittery. This is the interview. This is what they said happened. We give it like a plausible score instead of a unlikely score. So maybe there could be something like that involved. So yeah, you could accidentally donate to somebody who didn't actually save the person's life because they're scammers, but
Yeah.
and then you'd have to make sure the auditors are not corrupt too.
Is it like pay what you will? You just give whatever you think that's worth?
Yeah.
I'll say I've had good luck with that. Selling
Really?
merch after shows. Yeah, with stickers. Yeah, you can just say like, pay what you will, and it's a sticker. So people, they'll support you. And then also like if you have like a propped up Venmo sticker there and people just scanned it. And people donate digitally, they give a lot more money. I did notice that.
What's the most you've ever gotten?
The stickers, I was selling them for like $5, and I'd say like 20 for like 2 stickers, or like 40. Like I've gotten shit like that, and it adds up. I mean, people will do that, or they'll just do 5. Occasionally you get the guy that like fumbles to set up his Venmo and then sends you like $3.50 for 2 stickers. And it's like, okay, I mean, the rest of it can't. And then like people give like physical money too, but I just noticed like if they bought it with physical money, it was always like, $10, $5, that kind of shit. And they always say that about like credit cards, right? Like my dad always kind of beat it into me where it's like, yeah, if you're spending with money, how much money you have. Like if you spend with a card, you don't really see that money go away. If you physically have to hand it over and put it back in your wallet, you're way more aware of it and how much of it you're spending. If you ever selling merch, like do that kind of like anything that makes it just easier for people to do that, that might work. Because that's the thing I've noticed. It's just like anything that just kind of cuts out a middleman and just makes it easier for people to get the thing. That's what it is. Like I fucking want it now. I don't want to. I want it now. So yeah, that might work. If people really want to support do-gooders, the heroes in our lives, then yeah, maybe. Wouldn't like guys like firefighters like have crazy peacocks? You know what I mean? Like that would be nuts.
Well, I don't know how many people the firemen actually save. like
Oh
in a
yeah, they kill a
career.
lot more people than they
No, 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 no,
say.
no, no, no. But like most fires, I would
Oh man,
imagine.
oh, we're getting into this debate. I didn't.
Most fires, I'd imagine there's nobody to save. They all got out
Sure,
okay.
I'd say
So
like 90% of
maybe
the time.
2 or 3 people per career. Maybe they save. It's not like Rescue Me, the TV show,
I
where
was
these.
just gonna bring up Rescue Me. Rescue Me. That was a great show.
I can't imagine firemen are like carrying old ladies down the stairs like twice a week. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm
That
sure it happens in their career once or twice,
I don't know. Maybe it happens
or
in
they're
like
on the
bigger
crew of
cities.
20 and one of them pulled a guy out,
Yeah, I
and
mean
that
maybe
might
in just
happen
like
more often.
in like more densely populated areas. Like I remember I dated a girl who was like from the country, and she said that like anytime she heard like sirens back home, it was like fucked up because it was like, oh, that's someone we know. I grew up like metropolitan suburban Toledo, like you heard sirens, and like out here you hear a siren, like it's whatever, it's not a big deal. But like there, it was like, oh, it's a huge deal because it doesn't happen a lot.
Part of that is population density.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess a rural fireman might not even go to a fire for
Right.
weeks on end.
Right. It's like a corn fire or something. I don't know.
I
Shit
don't
goes
know,
on.
but if a fireman
But
saves
they're
10
also
carries,
first responders. Let's not forget that. That's the other thing. They're first responders in general. So anytime there's anything, they gotta show up first. So they're doing
yeah,
like medical shit too.
yeah, I'm sure that they would have pretty big peacocks, and I think
Yeah.
yeah, maybe part of it is okay. You're seeing the person's profile when you donate. Like, is this a kid? Like, kids aren't going to have that many impressive things on there,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So you're going to take that into account. If a kid saves a kitten out of a tree, that's a bigger deal than if a fireman saves a kitten out of a tree. Maybe you need to provide some context on who they
That's
are.
why I said earlier. That's what I asked earlier about the different sizes of feather. Like, do feathers carry different levels of merit? Do they carry different weights or different value? Do they all look? Can you do that, but they all look the same?
I kind of like the idea, the Karma Peacock Corporation or charity that runs it, they're not deciding how good the deed is. It's the public.
Yeah. So
So
if you're feather, like let's say someone gives you $50 for rescuing a family of dogs, and someone sends you $50 and someone sends you $600, those would be registered as the same feather. They would look the same no matter what people sent.
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
when you're reading the description, if you click on the feather, then you would see this one has earned more money than this one. But the other thing is, like, how good would a peacock look aesthetically if it's got one feather that's like 10 times bigger than the
Right.
peacock itself, and then one puny little feather like
There'd be some like graphic design things, but like, or just like how people like collect things in games, like going back to like different armor or whatever. Like people would do like, oh, it's a cow feather, it's a fucking I don't know, the fireman feather. I mean, people do that. They buy like that's isn't that like what cryptocurrency? That's like why it was developed, to buy things in games. Like you can buy like different outfits and different things. So couldn't you apply that to the feathers and have that as be kind of an incentive to spend more money? Like, oh, you get to give them this feather, or like maybe you give them this feather, it's like the flirty feather. And maybe it doesn't show to everybody, but like if it's like Tom Walma saves the entire town, some gal sees it on the news and sends you a feather, but it's like, hey, call me,
oh, I
You know what
didn't
I'm saying?
think
Like,
of that, like messages when you donate.
yeah, messages, or I don't know, people can send different feathers and it might cost like different levels.
But I envisioned there's only one feather that's sent from the person who sent to the person who did the good deed from
Yeah.
another person. The other people who later go back and donate, they're not creating new feathers
Okay.
for you. They're getting a copy of your feather, and it shows up on their, they can put it on their peacock as like a donation feather. Like,
So it would say, I gave to Tom who saved the children in the school fire.
yeah,
Okay.
as if I would
Yeah.
be able to do such a thing. I'd get tired after caring about 2 kids.
Yeah. They're very skinny kids.
It's not like he's going to get 10,000 feathers from 10,000 people. There's still
Yeah.
only one feather for that one act. There's one feather per act of
Okay.
goodness. And then other people can donate, but there's still only one base feather. And then the donors get like a donor feather copy
Yeah.
that looks the same, but it's marked as like a donor feather. Any last thoughts on that idea? Have I convinced you, Chris, that money should be involved?
Not really. I'm cheap, so it's hard to convince me that money should be involved in much. But I understand better what the use of it would be. So.
One thing too that just popped in my head about like the firemen is like, again, when you receive feathers for doing good things, you don't have to display them on your Peacock.
Yeah.
So like the police and firemen and stuff who do good things on their job might say, if you post this on your feather, things you did on duty, we're going to fire you.
Do you get a humility feather for not posting it?
No.
Okay.
That is just super complicated.
Yeah, humble naked peacock.
Yeah, what if someone's like, they don't want any credit, they want to like be anonymous, so their peacock just has no feathers, even though it's just feathers that we cannot perceive. Tom Walma's saving so many kids from school fires, but he's like, I don't want all the media blitz. I'm a simple man. I've got a fan. I've got an exercise machine. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to put on your peacock. You don't even need to have a peacock. But I do think it'd be cool if you could like cue a peacock through Facebook, a feather. I mean, like if somebody hasn't gotten a peacock yet, you could still give them a feather, and it would just sit there like tied to their Facebook or social media account, just waiting for them to claim it later when they do get a peacock. Yeah. But you'd have to work with the social media companies. But again, I don't want to force people to show their good deeds if they don't want to. And the other thing is like, well, as you get older, some of the good deeds that you did as a kid would seem so trivial that maybe you don't want to show them on your peacock, not because you're ashamed or you're shy, or it's not as impressive. It's not going to give you any social benefit to show that you helped an old lady once when you were 7, when you're 40.
So I think Chris mentioned something about this earlier, because what's good is kind of relative. So what about someone that's like, yeah, good job doing the January 6th. You're the best Klansman that there ever was. You know, you show up on time. Your thing is always clean.
Yeah, I'm hoping that terrorists and white supremacists aren't gonna create terrorist peacocks.
You'd hope. You know, I mean, you can't guarantee that that's what my mom used to always say.
Yeah, the problem that is a problem with blockchain and Bitcoin is like the non-modifiable ledger, and people put shit on there. It's not like Facebook where the big corporation can just take down any post they want. It's hard coded in the math of the ledger. So yeah, you might run into things like that squeak through. Maybe you could like the filter app that you view the peacocks through could filter some of that out. So it's technically on the crypto ledger, but the app that you view the peacocks in on your screen tries to filter that out to just hide the embarrassing stuff that's on the crypto NFT ledger. It's still there, but we're just hiding it. So yeah, maybe you could hide the January 6th stuff that way.
Yeah,
so they try to put it on their peacock and it just doesn't show up.
Yeah. Right. Damn.
This has been a production of Planet Amp Podcast, powered by Pinecast.